Welcome to Tailored by Nature 6984. Please subscribe and share if you enjoy this message. On this channel, we discuss things about nature, things that involve um, humanity, which is the aspect of nature that we all share. Today, we're going to talk about the first book of the Bible. Um, the word talk about the word that's being used. One of the things I encourage is to always study or something I've learned from books that I've read, an anthology by Tanya Moore. One of the things I've read and I begin to understand is that it's always a good practice to go back in time and look at the words and see where the words originate from, the context in which they were used, and get etymology of the word. Um, that alone will actually make a difference into, I guess, our understanding of what's really going on with the word itself. In the English, especially modern English, compared to, I guess, Old English, Middle English, and now modern English, there's a big difference as far as meanings and concepts that us reading today in modern English, we tend to just read the word and not thinking that the word has an origin, and that the people that used the word back then may not necessarily um, use it in the context that we're using it today. So by that alone, we kind of miss the true meaning of the word itself. So one of the, I guess, so speaking of the word Genesis, many of us look at the word and just kind of just think, okay, so we're in the church, wherever we went to, and wherever we learned the word, we come up with a concept that, okay, someone told us that as children, in particular. So a lot of these things are told to children, and if you told a child something, then that's what a child knows, what a child grew up to believe, and that's pretty much it becomes a belief system instead of a research of information. You kind of live on a belief system, and in that concept, we kind of miss the meaning or the true meaning of the word. So the word Genesis, we often hear that it means the beginning, and one of the things we don't ask is the beginning of who or beginning of what. And the general question is the beginning of the world, where in its true form, it really doesn't have nothing to do with beginning of the world. So if you look at the word itself, and one of the things that I've learned, I guess, by doing research over time is it's always good to just look at a word and at least do a etymology search on it and kind of see where it originated from, and also in if it's been used in a different language. I have been studying, doing some research into ancient Aramaic, and I found a lot of interesting things that I normally would not have considered in studying other languages. And because I've been studying that language, it gave me a different perspective of how to look at the world. When we see take for instance, when we see a tree, we see the foliage, we see the leaves, we see um, the main structure of the trunk of the tree. We don't necessarily see the root of the tree unless there's some, um, I guess, some kind of erosion around the tree. We may see the root, but we tend not to see the root. And the root is the most, I guess, one of the most valuable part of the tree, because without the root, there's no tree. And those are the things that we miss when we actually look at I guess when we use the English language, or when we look at words. That we're told to look at the prefix, um, the suffix, and the root of the word. The root is the most important part, because that's the foundation of the word we use. And we tend not to look at those things. When we look at words, we just look at the definition, and we don't really think, what does the prefix mean by itself? What does the root mean? And what does the suffix mean? When I learned in Aramaic language, unlike English, where English, you look at a word and the word itself has a meaning. Even though it has a prefix, suffix, and root, we tend not to look at those things. We just look at just the definition. But in Aramaic, when a word is formed, the letters that goes in talking modernly, because in the letters that that's used to comprise the word, there's consideration into the lettering system, what they use, because each letter has its own meaning, and because each letter have its own meaning, then those letters are put together to form I guess you could form a concept, or an ideology behind the word, for lack of a better term, or just overall meaning for the word. So when you look at a word, especially words that we see like in the Bible, especially names, if you look at names in the Bible, and that's one of the crucial thing I've learned. I was reading a book by Tanya Moore, and she was explaining that when we look at words in the Bible, our names in the Bible, they are not necessarily proper nouns like in English. They function more as adjectives and verbs. So because they function as adjectives and verbs, we have to take that into consideration when we look at a name in the Bible itself, or in any kind of, I guess you would say, scriptural writing, or I guess Christian writing. We have to look at the words. We have to look at the words itself, and start to look at the letters in the word, and see what those letters comprise of. What are they telling us? So it's not just a name as a name. You have to look at what the letters in the word actually mean. One of the words that come to mind is the word Ishmael, or Isha Amael, Ishmael. And one of the understanding that I got from that word, and when you read the concept around what happened with Ishmael, we see the idea that his mother was a Hagarine, and what was going on with Abraham man and his wife is that they were of old age, and so Sarah bought his handmaid, and which was Hagarine of descent lady, and I guess he kind of gave it to Abraham, say, hey, you're getting old, you need to have some lineage, and so they end up having a son, and his name was Ishmael. And further on in the story, we see where Ishmael, I guess it's her mom, I guess because she had a child with, with with Sarah's husband. I guess she kind of felt some type of way because she actually, I guess, kind of promoted herself, say, hey, I'm the one that actually give him opportunity to have lineage. And so she was acting a certain way towards Sarah. And of course, they got into a confrontation, and she ended up getting, her and her son ended up getting sent away. And by that concept, that name is literally telling a story of what actually took place. So these are ideas or concepts that we need to take in mind, now that, like I said, we have technology, we have a lot of things available for us. So we have to be due diligent to do more research, just to kind of see and get an idea, or at least a clear idea of what's going on in the world, and how we could, study to show ourselves approved, as mentioned in Timothy. So the name Ishmael is pretty much Isha Ama El. So the concept of the name is telling a story that because of what's going on with him and his mother, he was sent away because of his mother, because his mother was acting out of I guess out of character and disrespecting Abraham's wife. So she was he was sent away because of his mother. So that's what the concept of the name is. So you look at that name, and you look at many other names in the English Bible. Another name that came to mind is the name Paul, or Paul. It's also pronounced Paul. It's also pronounced Saul. So when you look at the name of Paul and Saul, is really telling a story about who he is, and where he's from, and what's going on with him. So in the Aramaic, I always refer back to the Aramaic because once you start studying and realizing what they have done as far as language is concerned, it kind of is always best to just kind of go back and see what was versus what is right now. Because what is right now, it's all covered up. It's all like the term, it's all garbage. I mean, they literally have monopolized, I guess, information. So whatever you're told, that's what we tend to believe, and those things we tend to believe is always not in our best interest to believe those things, because it's not going to be of, I guess, it's not going to be beneficial. We're going to run down in circles. Like Bob Marley said, we only have been told half the story. So as far as Paul name, so the first letter in his name is P, and in Hebrew is pronounced Pa. So Pa deals with the mouth. It deals with an opening, or to yeah, the mouth open, pa. That's what pa is. And another, in modern time, another word that starts with P also that deals with an opening, like it says, the opening in the body that function just like the mouth. And the mouth takes stuff in and expels stuff. So you look at another function would be our mind, our nose, our mouth itself, and also on a female, her pudenda. So as you can see, the word pudenda is the P also, or the pa. And in other words we use for that is a cat, which start with a P. So we see that word, and if you're from the islands, you may hear the word pum pum or punani. So the P is still being retained. So even though times have changed, the P, the pa, or the P is still retained. So when we look at Paul name, so he's something to do with the mouth. And another part of his name is A-U-L. If you look up A-U-L, it literally tells you that it is in the Asian mountains, or in an area where Caucasian area, like a mountainous Caucasian area. That's what the word all mean. It's pronounced all. So pretty much what it's telling that, first of all, Paul, he was not, I guess, born in the, I guess you said Middle East, or in a place where, I guess, many people are from. So it lets you know that he's actually mixed. And so when you look at the whole concept of his name, which I've learned from studying other writers like Tanya, they were saying, she was coming to the conclusion that in the Aramaic language, or Western Shemitic language, the word pa'ula, that's what it pronounced totally, pa'ula, means the mouth that mixes truth with lies. And his other name, Sa'ula, also tells of his, I guess, his heritage, which Sa means, it means pale, and also mean white. So when you look at the name, you come to the conclusion that Paul is actually mixed, which makes sense because there was a lot of things going on. I guess the ancient Israelite were really against him, and they didn't want to follow him because I guess he was not a full. It wasn't a full Israelite, so he was part. Yeah, so he was of mixed descent, ethnicity, and because he's mixed, there are certain, I guess, ideology that he was pushing that the ancient Hebrew or Israelites was not in line with, and so that was the case with Paul, which today a lot of people read Paul, and is highly misunderstood, I guess, because I guess he was trying to play both sides, and when you read his writing, it kind of gave you that idea that he was trying to pretty much walk the fence, pretty much, try not to cause any, I guess, I don't know, quarrel on each side. He's trying to please both race that he was mixed with, and that was a issue with Paul. So that name kind of give you an idea what was going on with Paul, and why there's so many myths why his writing are so misunderstood, because I guess he was trying to, trying to play both sides and trying to, walk the middle and not get either side upset. So that's what we look at. So that's I said. So just my first, pretty much this is my first, I guess, live talk of some of the stuff that I've learned over the years, and thought I share those thoughts and ideas. Thanks for listening, and looking forward to doing many more as I try to get my conversation voice going, and ideas going at the same time. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.